Usually we record and upload this to our YouTube channel. So welcome everyone. Welcome to August's member orientation webinar. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you've decided to spend your lunchtime on a Thursday afternoon with us. I hope that you find this webinar to be useful and helpful. I have a special guest with me. If you already probably see her on video, her name is Christy. She's going to introduce herself in a moment. She's going to be helping me monitor the chat box and answer any questions throughout the webinar today. I want to make this as interactive and conversational as possible. So feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. If there is a moment, feel free to unmute yourself and we will address your questions, your concerns throughout the webinar. So just a few housekeeping rules. Again, feel free to unmute and interact via the chat box. We will be sending a copy of the slide deck, so no need to take notes or feel like you need to write everything down. I will be sending you a copy of the slides after the webinar today, and along with the URLs that I'm going to be providing and some FAQs and links. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I see Christy has shared her LinkedIn and a few others are starting to share. So I'm glad that you're connecting. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to make this time, I want to honor your time and make sure that we can go through this quickly because there's a lot of information to cover today. So I want to do my best to make this as interactive as possible, as I mentioned. So we have 60 minutes together, maybe a little bit less if I can get through this quickly. So I want to make sure I focus on your needs during this time. So I will send you a copy of these slides after the webinar. And so here is an overview of today's agenda. I'm going to give you a general update on where we are as an association. And then I want to do a poll to gauge your interest today. So I want to know what information you are interested in walking away with today. And then based on that, that's where I'm going to be focusing on the most. And then I'm going to do a brief introduction on the membership team. And then that's where Christy's going to introduce herself and talk about what she is doing at PIHRA, and then give you an overview of PIHRA's membership benefits, programs, events, upcoming meetings, and then how you can network and start, getting started at PIHRA, and then just wrap up with some upcoming meetings and socials. I want to encourage you to start getting connected. So that's how we're going to end the webinar today. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. As I mentioned, I want to give you an update on PIHRA as an association. If you are new to PIHRA, you may or may not have known that during the pandemic, we went completely virtual. We had to shift because of the pandemic, and some chapters and communities had to start meeting virtually. Some chapters even stopped meeting because of the situation, how they were affected by the pandemic. And so now, thankfully, all of our chapters are now starting to meet in person. Some chapters are very engaged and they're meeting monthly on a regular basis. Like South Bay, I know that they're meeting monthly. South OC, North OC, I think Burbank too. So we're going to talk about that later on in the webinar. But if you want to see the most up-to-date information on what chapters are meeting when, where are they meeting, I encourage you to visit the PIHRA.org/calendar website. There you'll see a full list of events and meetings and also webinars that you can attend. So again, as a result of the pandemic, PIHRA chapters opted to change locations. So some of them are not meeting in the same places where they used to before the pandemic. So I always encourage you to visit the PIHRA calendar. That's where the most up-to-date information is. And at the end of the presentation, like I mentioned, I'm going to provide you a list of upcoming events that you can select from so that you can easily access them once you receive this deck. So that's where we are as an association, and I'm excited for you to start getting connected. If you are a new member, if you are a reactivating member, I'm excited for you to start getting connected with our community. So I'm going to go and move on to the next slide. And this is where I'm going to do the poll. I'm going to launch this question for you to answer. If you don't mind, we have, I believe, 10 or nine of us, including me and Christy, on this webinar. Feel free to let us know what information you're seeking to learn from today. Is it PIHRA chapters? Is it the monthly meetings? And I'm gonna make myself a note here so that I can make sure to come back to the information that you're looking to receive. So I'm just gonna give it a few seconds, maybe 30, 20 more seconds, and make sure everyone gets a chance to answer. Great, it looks like everyone has participated. I'm gonna end the poll and share the results. It looks like, give me just a second. It looks like most of you want to learn about seminars and conferences, monthly meetings, benefits, SHRM and PIHRA, and chapters. Great. We're going to cover all of that today. If there's anything on here that you want to learn more about, feel free to type it in the chat box and I will try my best to address it. If I can't address it, I will connect with you after the webinar or connect you with someone that can. So I'm going to stop sharing the results. Thank you so much for answering and participating. Oops, okay. Thank you all so much. I'm looking at the chat box. Thank you for sharing your LinkedIn. Connect with each other. I encourage you to do so during this time that we have together. So now that I have a better sense of what you want to learn more about today, I'm gonna give you a brief introduction about the membership team, and then we can move forward to some of these things that you want to learn more about. So as you can see on the screen, this is a PIHRA membership team. We are volunteer-led, primarily volunteer-led, and so Matt Palette is one of our volunteer leaders. He is the chair of the membership committee, so he serves on the PIHRA board of directors, and he works for locked-in companies. And like I mentioned, we are volunteer-led. Matt is very accessible. He is very passionate about PIHRA and loves staying engaged, and he's very accessible. So feel free to connect with him if you have any questions. He is basically here to represent you as our members. If you have any concerns, if you want to see any changes, Matt is the voice for us in the PIHRA board of directors. So feel free to reach out to Matt if you see him at the conference, at the California Employment Law update that's coming up. Feel free to connect with him. Lily Arguello, her and I are usually the ones that co-host this webinar together, but she's not here today. She's on vacation, enjoying her time. So it's just me and Christy today. And so Lily is the director of membership. She is part of the PIHRA staff. Her and I are not volunteers. We are a part of the PIHRA team, staff team, along with, I believe now we have eight or nine staff members. And prior to joining PIHRA, Lily worked as a membership manager at the Girl Scouts of Greater LA, where she was responsible for expanding membership in undeserved areas in Los Angeles. And she launched her professional career basically as an organizational development consultant. And something that she loves to share during her time when we introduce her is that she was a PIHRA member before she even joined the PIHRA staff. So she was a PIHRA member, and I think her chapter was PIHRA Long Beach. So she loves to share that she was very welcome when she was a PIHRA member back then, and her experience as a PIHRA member. So that's Lily. She's the director of membership. Feel free to connect with her if you have any trouble accessing your membership benefits or questions about certification and so forth. And lastly, I am Elisa Tapien. I am on the left, no, right side of the slide. I am the membership coordinator here at PIHRA. I am usually the first person that you will likely get to speak to if you dial the main number. If you ever have any trouble accessing your membership benefits, like mineral, for example, we're going to talk about that later. Feel free to connect with me. I am very happy to help and provide you with the service that you need to receive the best out of your membership at PIHRA. So our contact information is on the slide, and feel free to connect with me or the rest of the team if you have more questions. And now, without further ado, I am going to introduce you to our special guest. Her name is Christy Hudson. She is here with us today, and she's excited to share about her experience at PIHRA and so forth. So, Christy, I'll hand it
Hi,
over to you.
everybody. So thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm the recently elected chair of the PIHRA LA chapter. I have been a PIHRA member since probably 2000, so 23 years. I actually have a friendship of 23 years. I met someone at a PIHRA conference at lunch. We just happened to be sitting at the same table, and we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. And I've been a board member twice, so I've had two different iterations. One was from about 2007 to 2010, and then I rejoined again in 2015, and I've been on the board ever since. And I was recently elected to be the chair, which I feel, I'm honored and privileged to do. And in my day job, I'm a senior human resources business partner for a global law firm called Goodwin Procter LLP, which is a Boston-based firm that's about 110 years old. And ironically and coincidentally, like Lily, I actually worked at the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles before coming to Goodwin Procter. I was the director of HR. So it's a small HR world. You never know who you're going to meet. But in terms of my PIHRA membership specifically, I truly value it. I've met so many people, and I've learned so much during the time that I have been a member of PIHRA, and I consider that one of the most valuable assets that I have, in addition to my HRCI certification. I'm not SHRM certified because I didn't want to take the exam again, but I am HRCI certified, so I have a PHR. And I value my PIHRA membership, the board membership, the professional development that I've had, and the exposure to so many different aspects of HR. Not only attending the California HR conference, but the annual California employment law updates and the monthly webinars. And during the pandemic, it was a lot easier for me to get exposure to other chapters because now we're going back to more in-person meetings, but during the pandemic, I was able to take advantage of a lot of webinars offered by other chapters. And so that gave me exposure to the PIHRA chapters throughout Southern California. So I really can't emphasize enough the value of the membership from an HR professional development standpoint, and how much I truly value everyone I've met through PIHRA, including home office. And that's a little bit about what I wanted to share. I did want to also let you know, in terms of meetings, that the LA chapter We may be dark during the month of August, but we do have upcoming meetings on September 20th, October 18th, and in November. And, you know, once everything's final, you can go to PIHRA.org and see the information and sign up for it. But ultimately, what I really wanted to share is the value of the PIHRA membership, and whether you're reactivating or you're a new member, if you really take the time to get to know others in your chapter, attend meetings to the extent that your schedule allows, I think you'll find this really invaluable to helping you develop as an HR professional, no matter what level you are in HR. So I don't know if anybody had any questions. I did put my LinkedIn URL in the chat, so feel free to reach out and touch base if you'd like to be connected via LinkedIn. And then beyond that, and if there's time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Christy. Yes, connect with Christy. She's very accessible and is a great connector as well. So connect with her. Hopefully, if you are in LA, I know a few of you are connecting from LA. You can hopefully attend their next meeting and meet Christy and the rest of the volunteers in person. That would be great. So thank you, Christy. Her and I are gonna co-host this webinar together for the rest of the time. So feel free to chime in, Christy, if you want to add anything to anything I'm
Okay, will do. Thank you.
So we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Just gonna check the time. So now I'm gonna give you an overview of PIHRA, who we are, our mission, etc. So PIHRA, our mission is here where we exist to engage, elevate, and serve the California HR community through innovative programming, professional development, and high impact opportunities. And this is where I'd like to share that we were founded in 1944 before SHRM. And back then, PIHRA was called the Personnel and Industrial Relations Association. So it was PIHRA, P-I-R-A. They were founded by a small group of Los Angeles personnel administrators. And something really nice is that PIHRA LA was actually the first chapter to be established. So I think back then, they used to be called by district numbers, and PIHRA LA used to be district number 1, but we no longer refer to the chapters as districts. Now they're PIHRA LA, PIHRA Pasadena, etc. So yeah, PIHRA was established and they were founded in LA by a group of personnel administrators. They were looking to find a way to grow in their career as a HR professional. I think at the time, HR professionals were called personnel industrial relations professionals, something like that. So they were looking to excel in their career, and now PIHRA has grown to serve 18 professional chapters across Southern California and 12 student chapters and 3 specialty groups. And like I mentioned, we have a dedicated staff, and we are primarily volunteer-led. And I know a few of you had wanted to learn about monthly meetings and seminars and conferences. So I'm going to focus on that in a few minutes. But that's who we are. We are the largest SHRM chapter, originally founded in 1944. And we have some key players here as well. Tara Fournier is the 2023-2024 president of the PIHRA Board of Directors. Tara has extensive background in HR management and organizational development, and she is currently the Chief People Officer for Enthusiast Gaming. And like I mentioned, we are volunteer-led. She is a volunteer leader, so she gives back her time at PIHRA. She's very accessible as well. Rafael is the CEO of PIHRA. So he is part of the PIHRA staff. He's our boss, and he is responsible for strategic operation, management, administration, and the success of PIHRA, as well as the success of the California HR conference. Back then, the conference was called the PIHRA conference, and Rafael, because of his hard work and dedication, has grown the conference to now be the California HR conference and rebranded it. And he leads us as a team of staff, and also he leads over 200 volunteer leaders across Southern California. And then prior to joining PIHRA, he was serving as an executive officer at the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers for over 20 years. So he has extensive experience in leading nonprofit and profit organizations in marketing and event roles. So if you ever see them at any meetings or conferences, feel free to say hello. They love to meet you, our members, and get to know who you are. So now that we're done with the introductions, if you're wondering who are our members, this is our membership demographics. These are the individuals who can give you advice if you are looking to receive advice about how to kickstart your career, maybe even hire you in the future. So it's a little small on my screen, but the types of members that we have over 3,500 members here at PIHRA. The majority of our members are in the HR business partner role or manager or generalist role. They are 43% of our membership. The rest are HR directors and above. We also have service providers as members, and a few others that are categorized as others. But our niche is managers and generalists. They represent over 2,300 companies in the industries of manufacturing, consulting, healthcare, and nonprofit organizations. And about 40% of HR professionals here at PIHRA are certified. If you have any questions about getting certified, I don't think anyone mentioned that they would like to learn more about that. But if you do have more questions, Christy mentioned that she's HRCI certified with PIHRA. And if you have questions about SHRM, getting SHRM certified, I can connect you with Lily. She recently got certified, and she can give you more information as well as other resources. Did you want to add anything here, Christy?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, thank you, that we have a certification chair on our board. So if anybody is inclined to reach out to me via LinkedIn and you want me to put you in touch with our certification chair, I'm happy to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great resource. I know so many people come to us asking which certification is best for them. And sometimes it really depends on your goals, what you would like to achieve, and also your background and your experience. So that's a great resource, Christy. So thank you for adding that. So now that we know who our members are, who you're going to be connecting with, I'm going to talk to you about, oops. Sorry about that. Okay. My computer is being a little glitchy, but you should see the map of our PIHRA chapters on your screen. This is a map of where our chapters are located, where they usually meet. Like I mentioned, before the pandemic, they used to be on a monthly basis. After that, now that we're starting to meet in person again, several have changed their locations, but they still primarily meet around these areas. As a PIHRA member, if you joined PIHRA already, you probably saw that you had to select a primary chapter as your home chapter per se. That is your home chapter, but you are able to attend any chapter meetings at any location at the member rate if you are interested. So I just want to briefly go over the map. We have a few PIHRA chapters up north. The farthest we go up north is Antelope Valley. They usually meet out of Palmdale, I think. Palmdale, yes. Santa Clarita and Ventura County. Ventura County usually meets out of the Oxnard, Camarillo area. We also have chapters in the West Coast. PIHRA West Los Angeles, they meet out of Santa Monica, Brentwood area. South Bay, they meet out of the Hawthorne, Torrance cities. And then Gateway cities, they meet out of Cerritos. And then Long Beach, they meet out of the city of Long Beach, sometimes even Carson. We also have chapters in the, I would say, Valley East side of Southern California. Coachella Valley, they are in the desert. They usually meet out of Palm Springs, Palm Desert, and then you'll see South OC. They usually meet out of Irvine, Huntington Beach area, and so forth. So this is just a brief overview of where they meet. We also have a chapter in North County, San Diego that you can't see here in the map, but they are starting to regroup again, and hopefully in the next few months, hopefully you'll see a new meeting coming up for them. So we do have one in North County, San Diego. Christy, do you want to talk about PIHRA LA, some upcoming meetings? I know you mentioned that when you introduced yourself, but I know every chapter has their own culture. Do you want to share how PIHRA Los Angeles has been for you?
Sure. I truly appreciate, as I mentioned, being on the board, but part of it is because it's not super stringent. We respect each other as professionals. Our board at large, it's very diverse in terms of what level everybody is, as well as the industries in which they work. We have nonprofit. I work for a law firm, so that's for profit. We're friendly, approachable, collaborative. We have an upcoming board dinner on August 24th. We've kind of missed each other over the course of the pandemic when we didn't meet, and now we're starting to get back in person. And I think that's one of the best things about having the board relationships is that as HR professionals, sometimes we can just talk among each other and we can share stories. And, sometimes it's just as easy as picking up the phone or sending an email to get an answer to a question because we have those established relationships. So if there's one thing that I would say above probably everything else that really makes a difference as it relates to the PIHRA, our PIHRA, why we're part of PIHRA, it's the relationships that we've developed. And we have many long-term board members. For instance, our legislative chair, Tamara Devitt, I think she's been on the board for at least 10 years, maybe more than that, maybe 10 to 15 years. And our past, 2 presidents ago is still part of our board and is now our co-membership chair. So one of the most unique things about our board, I can't speak for others, but it's the relationships that we've developed and how it helps our respective HR career development, and just being able to sometimes reach out to somebody and they can commiserate with what you're going through as an HR professional, or they may be able to provide you with additional information that can help you problem solve. So that's something that I don't think is unique to just our board. I don't want to speak for others though. And so I hope that provides a little bit more insight into PIHRA LA.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I have also heard stories of members that meet their best friends at these meetings, and isn't that lovely? I think that that's priceless, and I would encourage you to make it a goal to at least attend one of these meetings in person a quarter. I know that we're already in August. You have August, you have maybe not August if that's too soon for you, but September, October, November, you have 4 more months to get engaged with PIHRA before the year ends. So thank you for sharing that, Christy. I just want to add one more thing before I forget. Student members, they receive an even deeper discount if you are a member. Sometimes even $15. You save $15 at these meetings. So I encourage you to connect and start attending. So besides these 18 chapters, we do have 3 specialty groups that I want to just briefly go over. The PIHRA Foundation is one of our, I'm sorry, the PIHRA Foundation. The PIHRA Foundation is one of our specialty groups. They are dedicated to support the workforce readiness. They have a You and Your First Job book that a few have found very useful, especially if you're interested in giving this to a high school graduate that's transitioning to college and doesn't know what to do about their first job, or even a recent college graduate. That's one of the resources that PIHRA Foundation offers, as well as scholarships and to the certification, and also a degree scholarship. So they are currently offering 2, and they don't really receive a lot of applicants. So if this is something that you're interested, if you want to get certified next year, I encourage you to apply to this scholarship and complete the form, go to their website, learn more about it, and submit. That way you can take advantage of this awesome opportunity. They usually grant scholarships ranging from around $500 to $3,000 to support people that want to get certified, or students that want to pursue a continuing class at a university or college. So visit the PIHRA.org Foundation if you're interested in this. I don't see any questions in the chat box. I just want to remind you that if you do have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat box or unmute yourself. That way we can address your questions. The PIHRA Emerging Leaders is also another of our specialty groups here at PIHRA. They were actually called Young Professionals, but they rebranded and now they're called Emerging Leaders. They are basically a committee that is designed to invest in the future of leaders in HR. So most importantly, people that are interested in sometimes making a career transition to HR, or students and or early career entrants that are new to HR. So they are here to help you with that. They are great connectors and can provide you with the resources that you need to start getting engaged with the HR community. So very quickly, this committee is also regrouping. They are going through some leadership changes, but I'm looking forward to seeing more activity from this group in the next upcoming few months. And so get connected if you are interested in learning more about them. They are on Twitter and also on LinkedIn. And I'm also going to talk to you about our third specialty group here at PIHRA. They are called the Government Advocacy Team here at PIHRA. Typically, short for that is GAT. It kind of sounds like cat, G-A-T. But they exist and they're very active right now. Their mission is to provide clear and balanced rules and guidance on employment issues that are essential in creating better workplaces. And they are basically dedicated to making a difference in the workplace. So they work and go to Sacramento, Washington, D.C., and in partnership with the Cal State Council of SHRM, in other words, CalSHRM, to be the voice of HR in the Capitol and in the Southlands legislative districts. So they are consistently having chats to talk about these issues and how to make this a better workplace for you. If this is something that you're interested in, if this is something that maybe you're passionate about and you want to start learning more about, I encourage you to get connected with them. They recently had a meeting on July. They met with California Senator Lola Smallwood. And they are very great and accessible connectors as well if you're interested in that. So reach out to them if that's something that you're interested in. Now that we're over the specialty groups, chapters, and the overview of PIHRA, I want to go over some of the member benefits. I know a few of you wanted to learn about the benefits here at PIHRA. So I want to go over that quickly, and then in the next slides, focus on the seminars and conferences that are coming up. So something that I love that Christy shared is that you really meet the people here that will help you in your career and even your best friends. And this is something that I think is priceless. And that's one of the things that we differentiate here at PIHRA is that you really build your HR board of advisors. We can't emphasize enough that it's important for you to build your network of interest, and statistics show that 80% of job openings are unadvertised, and through PIHRA you can meet people who are willing to share information with you. Sometimes at these meetings people share that they're hiring, people share job recommendations, etc. And so these people may lead you to an internship or a volunteer opportunity or your next job if that's something that you are interested in getting out of at PIHRA. So volunteering, staying engaged with PIHRA will really show your work ethic. And when people are considering hiring, they'll likely think about you because of how engaged you are with PIHRA and your volunteer experience, etc. So that's one of the membership benefits that you get to be a part of, as well as being considered an expert and increasing your earning power. In other words, you get to take advantage of all these professional development opportunities and workshops by attending meetings and getting acquainted with the online tools and resources that you can use, as well as getting certified. We also have certification preparation classes for you to prepare for the HR certification exams. So this is going to create your earning power, and you're going to really excel in your career by attending conferences, seminars, and meetings as such. And the last point that I want to mention is you get to save money because of all the online tools and resources that we provide. For example, if you're not familiar with the PIHRA Workplace, the PIHRA Workplace is powered by Mineral, and it's basically a compliance center, excuse me, that will help you with your role as an HR professional. So there are so many features in there, including an employee handbook builder, policy forms, etc., including a PIHRA Live number. And that's what I want to talk to you next, is the PIHRA Live hotline number. If you have a HR related question that you need advice on, if you need advice on something confidential in your organization, you can call this number. It's the 855 number, and they are a team of HR experts standing by to answer your HR related questions. They're not able to answer legal questions, but they can provide guidance and documentations of the questions that you have regarding HR. So feel free to take advantage of this resource. If you ever have any trouble accessing this, because it is through a separate platform, contact me, contact Lily, and we can definitely get you access right away. If you are a new member and you need access right away, also let us know, because it does take a few weeks for you to receive full access. So again, this is something that comes with your membership. Take advantage of it and let us know if you have more questions. If you also want to dive into the online community before you start engaging in person. PIHRA Connect is something new that we just launched this year. It's an online community for you, our members, PIHRA stakeholders, and prospects. Anyone that is interested in PIHRA is able to access PIHRA Connect and basically engage and discuss with each other and receive feedback and resources from professional peers regarding human resources. So currently we have about 1,100 active stakeholders engaging on the platform. So PIHRA Connect is kind of like Facebook and LinkedIn. It has some of the same features. It has a feed. You can comment, engage. You can even join groups based on your chapters or your interests as an HR professional. So connect with each other. I would encourage you to visit this and start asking questions, connecting, asking for feedback and so forth. So PIHRA Connect is available to you as well. And the link is there on the bottom, and you'll receive a copy of the slides like I mentioned. Now volunteering, I'm just looking at my notes. I don't see that anyone was interested in learning more about volunteer opportunities, but Christy, do you want to share? I know Christy is a volunteer leader at PIHRA. Do you want to share anything here about your experience volunteering at the chapter level, maybe even at conferences and meetings?
Sure. So I just have that ethic, I guess. I've been a member of other boards, the National Association of African Americans in HR, the National Human Resources Association, LA chapter. And so just throughout my career and in my life in general, I'm very big on providing service and volunteerism. But more based on my current work schedule, and more recently, I'm just volunteering as the chair of the PIHRA board. There are a lot of different opportunities. I think you have to evaluate what works best for you personally, what you have time to do, and you know what you're, and just you could dip your toe in the water, volunteer at the chapter level, depending on your chapter, and just get a feel for what it's like, if that's something you want to continue. But it's also a great way to strengthen and develop relationships just by volunteering. So if you want more information about LA specifically, feel free to touch base with me via LinkedIn and send me a message, and then I'm happy to give you more information.
Yeah, thanks, Kirsty. Kirsty mentioned something that is important. I think it does really depend on your commitment level. If you want to start off with something that's not that time consuming, you can even do a committee position that doesn't require that much time, or perhaps even volunteer at a conference. That way you can volunteer without too much commitment if you're not ready for it, and then you'll kind of get the gist of how that works, and then hopefully commit your time a little bit more after that. So there are several ways to volunteer. If you are interested, feel free to scan the QR code. There is a form for you to fill out, and someone will be in touch with you if there is an opportunity for you to get engaged. So there's more information at pihra.org/volunteer. And now I want to move on to the next slide and talk to you more about learning and networking. Several of you wanted to learn more about seminars and conferences, and this is where I'm going to cover that. There's so many HR educational opportunities that you can take advantage of. For example, we have the virtual learning. As a PIHRA member, you get to register for webinars for free. Usually there's at least, I would say, more than 2 webinars a month. If not by PIHRA, there's chapters that are hosting webinars. So you get to register for those at no cost. And sometimes they are able to get you certification credits through HRCI or SHRM. So that's something that you can continue your educational career or professional development with, as well as chapter meetings, like we mentioned earlier, and the PIHRA conferences and so forth. So the California Employment Law Update I'm going to cover in just a moment, but there's also specialty programs like Real HR, and there's a new series that we just started, which is HR Power Series that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. So take advantage of all these accessible professional development opportunities. Like I mentioned, you do receive a minimum of $10 off on the registration fee. So you do save money by attending. There is a cost because usually in-person meetings, there is a meal component, and you do get recertification credits if you are certified. So there is an additional cost, but as a member, you do save and receive the member rates to all of these professional opportunities and meetings. And like I mentioned, we do have free webinars at no cost, and that's something new that we started this year. So take advantage of the opportunities that you have to attend these webinars before the year ends. Your professional development is important to us, and we want to make sure that PIHRA is offering you the opportunities for you to excel in your career in that way. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. I'm going to wrap up the webinar. So I want to again emphasize, if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat box before we end today. Like I mentioned, there are opportunities for you to get certified. We do have preparation classes that are available to you for the APHR certification, for the PHRCA certification, also for PHR, SPHR, and the SHRM certifications. So sign up if you are interested. If you're interested as well in the scholarship, sign up for the scholarship and then look into one of these certifications and see if it's something that you are able to do at PIHRA.org/certified23 for more information. And these prep classes are virtual, so that's something that hopefully can accommodate better with your schedule. Like I mentioned, we have a new anticipated, I guess, launch of our HR Power Series. We're thrilled to announce this, and it's going to be a great event. It's actually a event hosted by PIHRA Home Office and PIHRA South OC. So HR Power Series is basically a quarterly event that we want to start, where we tackle the hottest topics in the latest trends in HR. For example, AI and GPT are the latest hottest topics right now, especially in HR and in the workforce. So that's going to be our first meeting coming up on August 31st. If you want to learn more about how AI and GPT can energize your HR team, I encourage you to attend this meeting. It is going to be a longer program, I think from 1 to 5, but it's going to be very informative. We're going to be able to discuss and evaluate how AI and GPT have risks to the HR industry, and we're going to gain insights on how AI and HR are impacting HR strategy. So look into this event. Hopefully you can attend if you are in the Mission Viejo, Orange County area. I encourage you to look into this and register. And last but not least, we are excited to share that the California Employment Law Update is happening in October, and we're having it in 2 separate locations. The first one is going to be in Anaheim. I'm sorry, the first one is going to be in Burbank in the LA County area, and then the second one on October 26th is going to be in Anaheim. The one in Burbank will be live streamed, but the one in Anaheim will not. So Feel free to attend. This meeting is very anticipated. A lot of our members look forward to this event because of how crucial it is for you to stay informed about the latest state legislators, about the latest regulations coming up in the next year. So stay engaged with this program. You have 2 dates to choose from, and the early bird ends on August 31st. So I encourage you to attend. Christy, have you attended? I think you have attended before. It used to be called
Yes,
the
I
legal
have.
update.
Yeah. Highly
How has it
recommend
been
it
for
if
you?
you can spare a day, because it's very and drink some coffee and get a good night's sleep the night before, because it's a lot of information, but it's definitely worth it in terms of your professional development.
Absolutely. So those are all the seminars and conferences coming up. I didn't see any more questions in the chat, but those are all the conferences and meetings coming up for the rest of the year. So before we end, I want to give you a list of the upcoming meetings that are on the calendar right now. Like I mentioned, it's important for you to build your network in your area of interest. So start by attending one meeting a quarter if you can. Make it a goal for yourself to start engaging. Right here on the screen, I have 3 meetings for August 10th. I think the only one that hasn't happened yet is the PIHRA Riverside Social. That one is this evening. If you're in the area, they have a social, and it's called the Night of Tequila Tasting. Excuse me. And then next week, we have a webinar that's free for members. We also have a meeting. PIHRA Antelope Valley is having an in-person meeting. If you are in the area of Palmdale, feel free to look into this meeting. Coachella Valley is having an in-person meeting as well, making the case for learning and development. August 17th, North OC is meeting. There's a lot of activities on the 17th. North OC is meeting, Ventura County is meeting, Long Beach is meeting in person, Inland Valley is meeting in person. So you have so many to choose from next week if you are available. And then the following week at the end of the month, Burbank Glendo is meeting in person as well as West Los Angeles, and then our HR Power Series on August 31st. So start taking professional level workshops at our meetings and get acquainted with some of these meetings and online webinars that you can use to excel in your career. So that is it for me today. That is all I have for you. If you are still here and listening, thank you so much for your time. Connect with us
Thank you.
on LinkedIn. Thank you, Christy. If you are online, connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and then the PIHRA Forum. Feel free to also contact me if you have any questions after the webinar. I appreciate your time. And if no one else has any questions, I'll stay here for a few more minutes. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being with us today, and we're excited to help you get the most out of your PIHRA membership. Thank you, Christy, for also being here.
Sure thing. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for attending.
Yeah, thank you all.